You just landed in.
Wait,
Where
where
are
are
we
we
again?
again? Where are we again? Hello, guys, and welcome in a new episode. Today, we're going to talk about living in Denmark. So, if you're interested to either move or just to travel to Denmark, this is an episode for you.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for listening to us again. So, Agi, tell us about the story how you ended up in Denmark.
Yes. So that's actually a funny story, and maybe some people would think I'm crazy to move to a country like this. So I lived in the UK in London before I moved to Denmark, and now I live in Denmark since 7 years. And how did the idea pop out of my head? So I lived in the UK, and I already knew I didn't want to stay for the rest of my life there. It was fun for a while, but I wanted to move. But I really didn't have a clue about where exactly I should go. I wanted to see more of the world. So I was a little bit hesitating whether I should move to maybe Switzerland. Very nice, calm life, and I wanted a place where there is nature and a bit better work-life balance, maybe. So 2018 February, I went to visit our common friend Linda in Sweden with another friend of ours from Budapest. So the three of us, Ildi, the three of us, we went to Sweden to visit Linda, and we went out and we were discussing how's life, how's everyone, and I was saying, yeah, guys, I want to leave the UK, but I really don't know where to move. Yeah, I'm out of ideas. Maybe Switzerland, but I'm not sure. And then Linda was like, and I have to say, at the time when I was about to leave Denmark, the UK, I just became single. We just split up with my boyfriend, and then our friend Linda said, like, okay, Aggie, if you move to Switzerland as a single person, you're gonna be extremely bored, so don't go there. um, so then she actually recommended a place, and she was like, but Aggie, you always go to Copenhagen to party and to go out, or it's a really cool city. It's relatively Central Europe, and it's not so far up in the north like the other Nordic countries. They also have a good work-life balance, and they have nature. You can have a healthy lifestyle. So then I was like, I'm single. I want to leave the UK behind. I have nothing to hold me back. Why not?
So, have you been to Denmark before you moved? Many
So
times
okay,
partying.
so I've been there, I think, once or twice, because my ex's father lived in Denmark and he grew up here. So but that was not really the reason why I moved to Denmark. And to be honest, I was a little bit like, yeah, to be honest, like, I kind of seen, and we always came in the wintertime to Denmark, so it was kind of dark and cold. But I was a bit like, anything, I don't mind, just something different than London. So I went back. I remember from the trip to London, I went to the office and I said, because I already talked about it at my current job with my at the time my boss. I really liked her, by the way, and I was very transparent with her, saying that, look, I know I want to leave the UK, I will move somewhere, and I want to move to Denmark. And she was like, "What? Why Denmark?" I think everyone is a little bit shocked, like, why would you go to Denmark? Like, it's in the north. Like, normally people want to go to the south. But she was nice and supporting, and she said, look, let's see what we can do, if I can find another job in Denmark for you, so we can relocate you. But I was a little bit like, yeah, and if not, don't worry about it. I see it's a tiny country on the map. So what is the chance that they can find me a job here? Like, yeah, I was a little bit like, don't worry, I will just start looking outside as well. I will figure it out. But a few weeks later, actually, they came with an offer. Um, so at the time, that company was selling their portfolio to another investment company, and so they offered me this job. It was a completely new setup, perfect opportunity for me. So I moved to Denmark pretty much like 4 months later. So
Wow.
it was super quick.
But for you, then it was kind of like destiny that you had a Danish boyfriend or half Danish boyfriend in London. No,
Yeah,
and then you ended up in Denmark, living Denmark after you split up. So it's
yeah, it's exactly, like, but really there was no coincidence, like it was not a purposeful decision like that.
no, I know.
I
I mean,
Yeah,
that
but it
was
is.
yeah. This is how you knew about Denmark, because otherwise, I don't think you would have visited that much Denmark.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
mean, I know it's a nice country, but even I just went to Denmark because you were living there, so I visited you, and
yeah.
yeah, it's a nice country. But usually, when when you're thinking about holidays, you don't think much like about Denmark for some reason. So
Yeah, because you normally want either sun at the seaside, or if you want proper climbing, Denmark is extremely flat. Um, yeah, it's
yeah,
it's not the first destination. Maybe some people, because culturally it's a rich place, of course, and there is a lot of very good things about it, which I learned about later. But yeah, not at first, that's for sure.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, so yeah, the moving was very quick, and I was very much in a bit of a shock, I think, at first, that, oh my god, did I really make the decision? Oh my god, I'm really moving now. Like, pretty much it was like the late winter time, kind of early spring, and then by the summer I was already in Denmark. But actually it was a good time to move to Denmark in the summer, because winter is tough.
But then you have summer at all in Denmark? I mean, guys, you call summer when it's like what 18 degrees and like, oh, it's summer.
Yeah, I mean,
No.
yeah, the weather is, it's I would
How did
say.
you deal with the weather? Because that for me it would scare me, like if I was, because you're talking about Denmark, like, oh, I would move there. It seems a really nice country and good work life balance. It just, the weather for me, it would be an issue. I think the rain and the wind, cold, dark.
Yeah, I mean, you don't move here for the weather, that's for sure. To be fair, the summer is, I like the summer because it's not super hot. It stays around 20-ish degree. If you have a very good day, maybe two times a year, you have 25 or 26 degrees,
Wow,
if you're
2 days of
lucky.
summer.
But in general, it just stays around 20, and we get a lot of rain normally. So it can happen that your whole July is just rain. Um, but when the weather is good, kind of 20ish in the summer, it's super nice. Everyone is out having drinks outside, going by the canals, jumping from the canals. Like the whole, actually, if you look on the map, whole Copenhagen. I live in Copenhagen, in the capital, and whole Copenhagen has all these canal channels pretty much through the whole city. So a lot of people just go there and then jumping in the water, swimming, and just having a good time and barbecuing, and like, it's actually quite a good vibe here in the summer, and I think it's one of the coolest places to be in the summer, I have to say, because it's not super hot, it's just perfect. You can do activities, but then the
Yeah.
winter, when it kicks in, you have to, like, we started to kind of plan trips for the winter time, so we kind of escape the winter a bit to get some sun, because I have to admit, winter is like gray. I think the toughest part is not even the cold, it's just that you don't see the sky, you don't see the blue sky, you only see gray clouds. um, so that's a bit tough.
Yeah, it's a bit depressing when you don't have sun,
Yeah, yeah.
waking up with the dark. Yeah.
And the first few years it was okay, but I remember it was around the COVID time when it's really started to hit me, like, when you start to feel um, not completely depressed, but really down. Your mood is different. I started to realize on myself that I'm not that giggly, bubblish as I am normally, I start to more turn into myself. There is a reason, I guess, why people are reserved in the Nordics. Is the weather is making you like that. Um, you're not that. Yeah, you're changing a bit, and I could start to feel I'm changing a bit as well. So I remember I told my boyfriend one of the winters, I think the first time, and I really, really hit me. And it was only like 3 years later, because in the beginning you start to have fun with friends, a lot of new people, candle and gatherings and dinner parties. And that's a very good way to escape the winter or forget about the winter a bit. But when I was with my boyfriend and, it was two of us, we stayed at home a lot and, socializing a bit less, then it hit me. It really hit me. And I told him, I was like, look, we need to do something, because for me, it's not going to work. I'm going to go cuckoo. Like, I need to escape this country. So then we were like, then we went to visit you guys in Mauritius. We also had a bit more trips out of the country just to see the sun. We went to the south. Um,
So
because,
it's
yeah,
like, I guess it's common, no, in Denmark that people travel a lot during winter time to get away from like
yeah.
really cold and gray weather, I
It's quite a
guess.
thing that in the winter everyone goes to Thailand or all these hot
Yeah,
countries to get
I can understand that.
yeah, yeah, get sun. Um, but yeah, it's not all bad. I have to say, like winter is tough, but it's learning to cope with it. You need to learn how to get out of it, snap you out of this darkness, and make activities. Yeah, we do poker nights or dinner nights with friends or spa weekend or yeah, anything you can do to spice up your days a bit. So it is possible to get through it.
And actually at the beginning, because yeah, the northern countries like considered to be like, yeah, more reserved, not that friendly. So how did you feel at the beginning when you arrived and you didn't really have many friends, I guess? So how did you feel about that?
Yeah, a good tip what I can give to people who wants to move to Denmark or maybe even other countries is, and actually Linda gave me this tip, so I have to give the credit for her. She said, look, move together with the local, because then you get to know a local who, maybe you get to know their friends, and it just helps a bit with the integration. Um, and so instead of renting my own apartment, I rented a room with this local Danish girl, um, and then one more girl actually. So we were three girls in a very nice big apartment in center Copenhagen, and then we started to hang out more and more, and yeah, it was really fun like that. And then I started to get to know her friends, and she was really showing me the whole city. She was extremely nice actually. um, and yeah, we were, it was just before COVID, so we were going out a lot. I actually moved from London to Copenhagen to calm down a bit, because in London, going out all the time, you were doing something all the time. So it's like never resting. And then I moved to Copenhagen. What do? We party 24/7. I remember in the beginning, I was like, okay, I don't think I even partied this much in London as I did here in Copenhagen.
Wow.
Yeah, so yeah, we were going out a lot with her, and we had a lot of funny stories. And I realized the Danes are not like the stereotypes. What is your stereotype? What do you think about? Because you've been here to Denmark, but I think in general there is an idea about Nordics or Danish people in general.
Yeah, well, I think yeah, the stereotype is usually, yeah, like for the northern countries, we say northern countries, so you don't really separate like for example, Denmark and Sweden and
Yeah.
all the countries, which is now I realize that it's a mistake because they are different. We just say, oh yeah, the Nordic countries, it's always colder and dark, so all the people are depressed and they are like staying at home and not really friendly and they are
Mm.
reserved. So this is, but now of course you because you told me that it's much different. And yeah, when we visited you, well, first of all, it was in April and we had beautiful weather. I think we were there for 4 or 5 days, and out of 5 days, 4 days was like beautiful, sunny, no rain. I
Yeah,
think
one
it
of
was
the
just
lucky
raining
ones.
only one day when we went to Sweden to visit our friend, and then it was just raining. So we couldn't go anywhere, just to her place, which was good. Yeah, we were talking there, but that was the only day it was raining. The other days, it was. I wouldn't say it was warm. I mean, we were wearing jackets,
Yeah.
but it was not that bad. I mean, it was sunny. So it was nice. It was surprising. Like, we prepared for really bad weather.
Actually, spring can be amazing here. Like almost better than in the summer, I have to say, because it's relatively dry and we get all this fresh new sun, and the flowers just start blooming, the trees getting green, and yeah, it's really nice. But it was raining in Sweden. That's interesting because normally it's the other way around.
Yeah, I don't know, but that one day when we planned our trip to go to Sweden
Mm,
together to visit our friend, that was the only day it was raining. So
yeah.
I think it was maybe raining in Denmark as well. I don't remember, but in Sweden it was raining, so we couldn't really go out anywhere. We were just staying in at her house.
Mm. And
So
it's quite an amazing thing, right? Because so Denmark and Sweden are located next to each other, and they have this giant bridge which connects the two countries. So you can actually go through with a train or a car within like 20 minutes from Copenhagen to Sweden, which is amazing. I mean, half an
yeah,
hour you are in Sweden, in a completely new country. It's amazing, I think. And it has
yeah.
actually a funny story. Did you know that, by the way? How that built
The
how that bridge was
No,
built.
no, I don't know.
So I don't know if you remember, but at some part, so it's a bridge from Sweden almost fully till Denmark, but then kind of halfway it turns to a underground canal, like a tunnel.
Oh, it's under the water.
It's a tunnel under the
From
water. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I think I read it, that because they couldn't decide. No, Denmark and Sweden was had a conflict if it should be a
It's
bridge or
it's actually not
underground.
even a conflict. It's just a general misunderstanding, as I
Oh,
understand. Maybe I'm not correct, and then people can correct us online later. But if I know the story well, so Denmark and Sweden discussed that they should build something to connect the two countries to each other, and they were both agreed that yeah, that's a great idea. Why not? Let's do that. But um, and then but there they never actually discussed the details whether it should be a bridge or a tunnel. So there was, and actually it's quite a thing for the Nordics. You talk about things, but very, you don't say all the details, because
oh,
us,
okay.
that's why I said we are more similar to the southern, because we just talk and talk and talk and we talk about all the details. But here they are every talk only high level stuff. You are wondering a lot. Okay, what do they mean? Do they mean this? Do they mean that? And I really can believe it's like that. So Sweden started to build a bridge, and then Sweden was calling Denmark. At least that's the story behind. Hey, Denmark, we are almost halfway at the bridge. You said you're gonna join and do the other halfway. How is it going? And then Denmark was like, a bridge? I thought we are building a tunnel. So
We have done the
Denmark
half of the tunnel. Where is your
Denmark
part?
built the tunnel halfway, and then bridge, and
Oh,
then Sweden the bridge, and then at some point they connected the two to each other. So it's a funny story. Um, and it's also shows like how easy it is to have misunderstandings, but in a way it's also kind of fun because you have some part of tunnel and then a bridge at the end, which looks
yeah,
amazing.
it's so cool. It looks
Yeah,
really cool.
yeah.
So, but it's funny, yeah.
Yeah, and in general I think the Danes are quite that was, and I have to say still maybe today I have a lot of these misunderstandings, or uh, as I said, everything, a lot of the things are expressed in a way that it's not super concrete. So sometimes you're just wondering, is this what they meant? Um, so I think that could be one of the reason also, like, to be honest, like making friends with the local. One thing is that they are reserved. So it's a bit harder to get closer to a local because I know it requires energy. And I have to admit, I don't think, and I don't want to generalize, but I don't think the Danes want to put too much energy into it unless you're super excited personality or whatever. So I don't think they bother too much to get to know you or invest time into you. Um, but if some reason they got closer to you, I was a little bit struggling to understand them or to get that click, like I could have with other nationalities. Somehow the Danish and the British was a little bit similar because also the British was a little bit hard for me because I think we are wired a bit differently and we are thinking a bit differently. And it's not like you don't like the other party. It's just you understand them in a different way and we understand things in a different way. So I was struggling to, uh, yeah, click.
Yeah, to
And I,
communicate and to understand each other.
yeah, and like, the girl I was living with, she was super nice, and I have to say, like, everyone was really nice, and friendly, and my colleagues at the time were very nice and really helping me with a lot of things. Um, it just somehow they are extremely direct, which you wouldn't expect from the Nordics, right?
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
totally different from the Swedish and the Finnish. And I have to say, all countries, they are completely different. I know in general there is this generalization about the Nordics, but each country is quite different. Um, and the Danes are a little bit more of the wild ones here in the Nordics. And I got a complete shock when I moved here. And I remember I was in the office. Um, and then, the guys were just like making all these jokes and some sexual jokes and comments. And I was like, I remember I had just these big eyes like, oh my God, like, what am I hearing? I'm moving from this very diplomatic way of communication from the UK and I'm coming to Denmark thinking they're going to be reserved, and then bam, they are they are extremely direct. So I remember I was like, I didn't know how to handle it in the beginning, so I was just like, you're just getting a bit of a shock and you're just staying silent. So I observed just a lot, like staying silent and just looking what's happening around me, like, okay, this is new, this is different. um
Yeah, especially at work, it's not common. I mean, if you are really close friends with somebody, okay, it's common to make that type of jokes. But usually at the workplace, when you are just colleagues and not really close, and you were completely new, so
yeah,
you don't expect to have that type of jokes, I guess.
yeah, but I have to admit it was fun. It was very fun to work there. And if it comes to work, like, the other fun part is like, summer holiday. So how do you, so when you have holiday at work, what does it mean for you in general? How long you go? When do you go? What is the process around it? When, just wherever you are, how do you take holidays?
In Hungary, I used to take like 2 weeks for summer, so we could travel somewhere for 2 weeks at least, if it's possible with your company, with your
Mm,
workplace.
okay.
Um,
So in Denmark, and the reason why I asked it, so it's like, first of all, it's 1 month for everyone. Yeah. Everyone has to go for holiday in July. And I guess it differs from workplace to workplace how kind of strict they are about it. Actually, uh, now my current employer are more strict about it. Previously, it wasn't that strict. But here in July, that's the school holiday for children.
mhm.
Everyone goes on holiday, and not for 1 week, not for 2 weeks. They go for like 4 or 5 weeks. So imagine a whole month of no work at all. I remember
Wow.
in the beginning when they told me I have to go on holiday in July. First of all, I didn't, you know, I'm a person of freedom and everything. And they are telling me that July is the month you have to take it. I was like, man, this is the worst month to go on a holiday. Like, everything is super
Yeah, it's everywhere.
expensive,
It's super busy.
busy.
No?
it's too hot in the south. Denmark is gonna rain. It's the worst time to pick. Um, and then for 5 weeks, and I was like, I feel like I'm wasting my holiday just chill in one place. But of course, at the same time, it's a completely different way of holidaying when you go for 1 week or for 4 weeks. 4 weeks, you completely forget your work completely, and you really feel this sense of, you completely remove all the trash from your head from work which piled up in that year, which you don't do probably in a week holiday. So that
Yes, for
was
sure.
new for me completely.
Yeah, they say you have to have at least 2 weeks of holiday
Mm,
to start to forget about work,
yeah.
because the first week you still there. You cannot just turn off your brain and relax. So you
Mm.
need at least 2 weeks. So yeah, 4 weeks, then it's perfect. But then you don't have to have a backup at the company, or just everyone is gone and that's it. You close the doors.
That's the thing. No one has a backup. Everyone disappears. Everything
Wow,
stops. And almost like the whole country stops, because it's no matter what industry you are in, everyone is on holiday.
everything stops.
So in a way, it's kind of nice that it's a time no one is worrying about
Yeah,
anything. You just go and enjoy.
because it's a problem in Hungary that it's so hard to take your holidays because you have to
Mm.
have a backup. So you have to agree with many people. Okay, when are you taking your holidays? To be able to take 1 or 2 weeks, in total. So it's just, and then, oh, there is no backup, or you cannot go together holiday because somebody has to do the work. And it's just so stressful. And then you're thinking of course, you were thinking about work, like, oh,
Mm.
who's gonna do my job? What's gonna happen?
Mm.
So it's so. But then, how many days of holidays you have in Denmark? Then, if it's 1 month only in summer, but what about Christmas and
Mm. So actually, they don't have a lot of public holidays, but there is like a 25-day base holiday, which everyone gets. And then what they call ferie-free day, which means you get an additional 5 days every year, which they account for you to take off for like summer holidays.
oh,
So then you have 30 days in total with that. And then they only have a very few. I mean, I don't think I have been in a country which had so little public holidays.
no, but you have a lot of
But
like
I don't
holidays at
complain.
work, so that's good. I
Yeah,
mean,
exactly. Exactly. So
and I guess you have some extra days if you have kids, no? Or is it in Denmark? Because in Hungary,
mm,
you get an extra day, 2 days if you have one kid,
okay, I'm
two
not
other for the next.
completely good
You
at
don't.
that. I know there are
Yeah,
some parental leaves, but to be fair, I'm not sure how much
yeah.
is that. You
Because I
get
think
some
I've read
time.
that. Yeah, for fathers, they also have leaves, because in Hungary only the mothers have
Maternity
you
leave.
can the maternity leave. But in Denmark, I've read it's quite a long leave for the father as well, which is really really cool.
And you know what? Denmark made a new law, which is interesting, and it's I think it generates a lot of discussions. But they have a new law, well, relatively new, uh, which says that it shouldn't be just the woman who gets time off from work for maternity leave, and it shouldn't be that the child only gets attached to one of the parents, not both of the parents. So to kind of have an equal amount of time with the child, they made a new law that both the mother and the father has to take time off and have to share the maternity leave. And before
Wow,
it was optional,
it's a
now
must.
now it's a must. And in a way, if you think about it, when you have a baby, the most amount of time the person is spending with the baby will get attached to that person a bit more. So it makes sense in a way that if you get a bit more time with the father, it ease a little bit the mother's stress over handling everything with the baby, because you can have a similar attachment or connection built with the father as well. So I think it's great. It's of course a lot of people are. It brings a lot of discussions, because what if the father has a better income and it would be a struggle for them to leave the work behind and stay at home with the child. So of course it brings up a lot of these challenges. But I think nowadays we also start to live in a world when women and men are closer to have an equal possibility or chance in the working market, to have just as good jobs as men. Of course, it's not completely equal yet, but I think we are getting much closer to it. So, from that perspective, it's really to bring up this whole equality setup in the country, which is I actually quite admire that. You know, there is a lot of talk about these things in other countries, but Denmark, they talk about these things and they really take actions, and I really like that they don't just talk around, they just do it. Okay, let's go for it, let's try it. So that's from that perspective, I think it's a great country to be in.
Yeah, and this equality thing is, yeah, I think it's in Sweden, Denmark, and northern countries is more like more important. Or you talk about it in other countries, but they don't do anything about it. And but these steps, these regulations helps. And of course, for the mother also it can be that her career is also important for her. And
Yeah,
if she takes a maternity leave for a long time, then of course she's not gonna have the same opportunity as the man.
yeah,
So I think it's a good law or regulation.
yeah, yeah. Yes. So that's work. There is one thing I'm trying, and I think that was our very, very first conflict with my Danish boyfriend here, is Slick Friday. So Slick is candy, and you know those candies when you go to the cinema, and these I'm trying to find the right words, but these candies, these which you can just measure in a bag, um,
Oh, I
collect
know.
all different types, and just get like I don't
It's
know,
like the gummy ones
all
or
kinds of
just
gummy ones or
the
hard
bag.
candy
Okay.
or soft, all kinds of candy. Yeah. So they have these giant candy shops here where you go in and it's endless different type of candy selection. And what they do here is every Friday they pick up candy to eat candy because Friday is a
Adults.
candy day. And
But for adults, you mean, or for kids?
everyone. It's for everyone. It's really for everyone. Of course, mainly for children. But I can imagine that I also see that a lot of adults are quite candy addicts. I have to say.
I
So
was surprised when you told me like your boyfriend also likes candies and he eats a lot of candies. Like for me, it was
crazy.
surprising.
I mean, anyway, I would say I'm rather on the healthy side. I prefer to eat a bit, live healthier. I don't even drink sodas, or I don't. I'm not a fan of these chips or candy, or even from chocolate. I rather eat dark chocolate. So I'm anyway probably on the complete other side. But when he was buying candy to his daughter every Friday and this whole bag, and not just Friday, now it's like an everyday level, not just a Friday, because of course you become addicted to it. It's a routine. It's when you build a routine, you build an addiction, right? Because it's not good for the body.
Yeah,
So I was like, I wish if you would have this every Friday, fruit day, and now we're gonna eat fruit day every day.
yeah, yeah.
um,
Well, because I think in Denmark, a healthy lifestyle is quite big. I mean, important,
I mean, I
and there
have
are a
to
lot of
say,
healthy foods. No, so
everyone eats.
candies.
Yeah, they eat relatively healthier food, a lot of salad, and they bike. Most of the people are biking or walking. They are very active. They are doing a lot of activities. So they are rather on the healthy side in terms of physical movements, but food, the basic food is okay. But all these, and that's why I say they are the wild ones. They go for candies. They like, or drinking and other stuff, whatever. I think they can be a bit wilder, and that these bad habits can kind of put you in a circle, or a spiral, which um, of course, they would never think it's a serious thing. I'm the other one. I think it's a serious problem. I think it's really a big problem to have candy addiction, but it's really a thing here. Everyone eats it every day. And I have to admit, even though they kind of, you would think they live a healthy life, they have a lower life expectation than the people in the UK. And I have to
Wow.
admit, I'm sorry, people in the UK, you don't live healthy. Very unhealthy food there, a lot of them. But
Hmm.
for somehow, Denmark is having even lower life expectancy. And I believe,
That's surprising because yeah, you have a good work-life balance, so you
yeah,
don't stress much. I
yeah.
thought they eat healthy food, and
Mhm.
I don't remember. I don't think I've seen many like overweight people or
No,
like. So I think they
no.
look fit and
No, I think it's this really this sugar is the only problem in my opinion. But of course, if you would ask a Dane, they would say nothing is wrong with that. Um, but yeah, it's really a thing, and I had a really serious talk with him. Like, look, if we're gonna get a child, I don't want them to become a candy addict. I don't want a routine in their life with sugar. It's just simply not good for the body, and it makes you sick later on, maybe not today, but in 10, 15, 30 years later, you can have serious sickness because of that, because it's just piling up in your body. But that's just my side of.
yeah, you're gonna have some conflicts. I think if you have kids, cultural conflicts, I guess. But yeah,
Yeah, yeah. And that's the beauty of having a relationship with a foreigner, because
yeah,
you grow up in different places, the standards are different, expectations are different, and you need to learn to somehow find a good balance and a middle place, which can fit for both of you. But I kind of accept it now, so I'm okay. They eat candy. I mean, you can't make choices instead of other people, right? So they have to have their own choices. Um,
yeah. I mean,
but it
it's
is,
okay. The weather is not so nice, so you need something for happiness. So you eat candies, no? You need
yeah.
sugar.
That's what I believe actually,
Maybe.
because that's why I think I accepted it in a way that, it's dark a lot. I understand that you need something to boost your energy level a bit or mood a bit. I guess you could do it in a different way, but I mean, yeah, it is what it is.
Yeah. And
Um,
are there many foreigners in Denmark?
um, there are foreigners, but not like super super many, because I think it's not that easy to come to Denmark or move to Denmark. Uh, they have quite strict requirements to come. Like, first of all, language. You either have to be very good in your profession to work in English, I have to say, um, or yeah, it's not true, because there
Danish
are
is
always
required usually.
sorry.
Danish language is required usually if you want to get a job there.
Yeah, no, not always. Actually, it's not true, because you don't always need it. Of course, if you are in a job where you need to communicate with customers or consumers, of course you need to speak some Danish, but not all the jobs. So yeah, so it's not true, because you can get, but in general, I think to get papers and to be able to work here, it's not as easy as in other countries. And if you are not from the EU, I think it's quite tough, because you really need to have proper language exam, like being fluent in Danish, and you need to
Oh.
do citizenship tests, learning their history and culture, and even music, and all kinds of questions they have in this test. So
Did you
it's
take
tough.
an exam for residency there?
I am from the EU, so luckily I didn't have to. So I still want to figure out how, in a way, to get my this higher levels of Danish language exam, because I really want to be good at Danish, like really properly good, and then I will need to do the citizenship test. So it's a matter of learning their history and culture, which can be fun actually, because that's interesting. You learn things. A lot of the bands I didn't know that they were Danish, like I think Aqua, which they had these
Oh,
big hits in our times. These type of
Barbie girl.
questions as well, but also just history in general, which can be interesting. I think it's nice to learn. But there are not too many foreigners. There are. but not like super many. Um, I think they need to, yeah, loosen those rules a bit if they want more foreigners. But I don't know if they want more foreigners.
Yeah,
Maybe they
maybe they
don't.
don't want.
Yeah,
That's why it's strict.
yeah, yeah, probably. But because the system in general, it's extremely attractive, I think, for anyone. I mean, there is a reason why Denmark is called the happiest country several times, which means, of course, not like, as we say, happy as the deer laughing all the time, but the kind of the whole system, and the welfare in general is very good. And we are also like, I think, the top like the this world list of cities to live in, where they are listing the best
Yeah.
places to live, life quality, sorry, work quality. I think also Copenhagen is always in the top 5. And there is a reason for that. I mean, it's a great country. It's extremely nice. Of course, high taxes, because everyone says it's high. It has high taxes. I have to say, when I first had to pay taxes after my bonus, I thought I had a good bonus. Then I realized no. It's extremely high, like 50-60% taxes. Wow, like it's really
Wow.
really high. Um, but I have to
But you
say,
receive the service in exchange, no? Because you have like good public transport and
yeah,
hospitals. I mean,
the
so
all
you
the roads
receive
are done.
something in exchange. You pay the taxes, and you can have still a high standard of living.
It's a country where you see the money what you're paying, actually. So
Yes,
the roads are made. You have bicycle
not
road the
like in
whole
Hungary,
country.
you just pay,
Yeah,
but you don't see where the money goes.
there you just
Ah.
pay, but nothing improves. Yeah, here they do a lot of improvement all the time. And what I love, whenever they do something, they communicate to you. So they have these um, digital mailbox with the government where they can send you notifications. And everyone has this what we call CPR number. It's like a personal number which you use digitally to log into these places. So you can do anything online, which I love. So any admin stuff, you do everything online. You just use your what we call NEM ID, which is your personal number and your identification, and you just log in. So easy. And they always communicate to you whatever they do. If they sometimes ask your opinion. Okay, we want to improve these 5 different areas, this playground or that road or this park. What do you think? Which one should we start with? So they always ask the people who live in those areas that what do you prefer? And then you can vote, and then you can write them, and I would like this, and I really like that, or I don't like this. So they are extremely conscious about the people. They ask opinion from the people. They inform people even about the regular road work, um, explaining why are they doing it, when are they going to do it, blah blah blah. So extremely well managed. A lot of countries could learn from Denmark.
Yeah, this is how it should work
Mm,
actually in every country, you know,
mm.
ask people opinion.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And I love that because, okay, we want to do a new metro line and we are thinking to have a station for here or here. What do you think? Which one would be the best? So imagine these big investments as well. They're asking, what do you think, where we should have a metro station? I mean, isn't that amazing? A lot of the times it's done and given. No one asks your opinion. They just decide it themselves. And I think it's so nice that they're trying to involve the public into decisions like this. I love it, actually. And I always comment or respond because I love the fact that they invest time into this. I think it's amazing.
Yeah, it's really cool. It's really cool.
Yes.
Okay, Agi, thank you very much for your stories about Denmark.
Yes.
It's really a nice country to live in. Now I'm excited. I would move there after
Yeah.
this.
Yay.
Just except the weather. I still a bit
Look,
concerned about the weather part.
we are in a house building project, and we're gonna have a sauna, and sauna is amazing. Learn from the Finns. Sauna is amazing. In this weather, you do some sauna, then you jump in the sea, then you go to play a bit of tennis because it's perfect weather for tennis or paddle. Um, and it can
Okay.
be amazing. It's not too hot, it's not too cold, it's just perfect. You just have to get used to the wind.
Yeah, just that's it. Okay, sounds cool. I'm gonna visit you in your new house.
Nice. And next time we can
Okay.
pick up maybe the topic and learn a bit about Mauritius.
Yeah, sure. It's completely different.
But thank you very much,
Okay.
guys, for listening to us today.
And follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and subscribe to our YouTube channel.
And our Spotify channel as well.
Yes.
Take
Thank
care.
you.
Bye.
Bye bye.
Bye.